The dynamics of legacy. The dynamics of legacy. How we're connected and how we're connected from generation to generation. We know that legacy is a God idea. There's not a whole lot of indication of legacy in the garden except implied by Adam and Eve. But we know that later in the 12th chapter of Genesis, when God spoke to Abraham, God not only implied, it was implicit, or explicit that is, it was explicit that God was talking about legacy. I have an acronym where I talk about legacy, and legacy is laws empowering generations. Laws empowering generations. God gave us 3 laws that I have actually targeted, I emphasize, we expose, and everyone knows these. But I think we think in terms of some type of superlative, adjective, noun, or whatever. But anyway, legacy is what I live, what I give, and what I leave behind. That's what we say. So legacy is what I live. I live by faith. And what I give love, and I leave hope behind. We're talking internal things. Dr. King talks about in his book, Where We Go From Here, Chaos Our Community. He talks about we live in 2 worlds. We live in an internal world, and we live in an external world. And I got this from him, okay? Like a lot of stuff I got from Dr. King, because early on, he said things that touched my heart deep. Well, he was probably the wisest and one of the greatest men in the 20th century. A prophetic voice that spoke to us, and we know that we even have a holiday concerning Dr. King's birthday. Died a young man, and we all know that. But I just want to come on just for a few minutes and introduce this wisdom from RG. And I want to discuss Dr. King's book, The King Legacy. Where do we go from here? Chaos Our Community. And we're living in a time now, it's a chaotic time. In the courts, on the online, in life, and I could just name some things, but I don't want to go there. Some of the things that's happening now. But what we have an idea how the future will emerge. The future will emerge according to the word of God. And that's what we are in particular concern ourselves with. Chaos, our community. I got my copy in 2016, which is that's sort of interesting. And I sort of picked it up this morning. I got to reread it. But I'm remembering that I was 18 years old when Dr. King, on August 28th, 1963, when Dr. King, in the shadow of the Lincoln Memorial, began to say, I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of his creed. That day ain't come yet. That day has not come yet. He said, I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will be judged by the content of their, will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. You may disagree with me, but that day ain't come yet. Even though 2 of just recently Dexter died, and Yolanda was already deceased for a few years, so we're seeing that 2 of his 4 little children, there were 4 little children at the time in 1963. 2 of the children are already deceased, and that day ain't come yet. But I'm very optimistic concerning these things because God is in the mix. And I'm so happy that God is in the mix. I'm excited about what God is doing. Because the dream is not the American dream. The dream is according to what we esteem. And we don't esteem the American dream because the American dream has to do with the external. And we're concerned about the internal. Now, allow me to share with you, and I did a thing, and I said, this is entirely different. Well, it's different for me too. But allow me to share with you my definition of dream. It's a defining reality, DREAM, of excellence, which is love, of authority, which is faith, and morality, which is hope. What I give, love, what I live, faith, and what I leave behind, morality. Because what legacy covers is the full stream of life. And before I leave you, let me share this with you. I had no idea that I hadn't even thought about legacy. You know, you hear about legacy when you hear them talking about Jordan, Michael Jordan, his legacy, especially I hear him talking about legacy in the NBA. Okay, when they're talking about LeBron James or when they talk about Steph Curry, they talk about their legacy, you know, championship rings and all of that. So that takes a lot of heart, a lot of grit, a lot of talent, God-given, and what we do with it. But but legacy, what I realized was I was sitting in the audience at Gospel Water Branch, a church in Augusta, in Evans, Georgia, and I was sitting on about 8 years ago on coming up to the Veterans Day, and my son was ministering. That's why I was there. I was there visiting him, to support him, and I marched in with the vets. They had the vets. They marched in together. The vets marched in. So I was sitting sort of middle, almost right in front of the pulpit, you know, in the middle section of the church there. And my son said something. He said, old man told me this, and it had something to do with what I told him about unlocking your potential and triggering your destiny or something. And I thought to myself, why did you just say that? They told me that. I'm sitting right down there. You know what I mean? And I I didn't like that too much. But then later, I sort of went to the Lord about it, and the Lord told me, "You'll get your props. Your legacy is your props. We don't get credit for what we live and what we give. We get credit when it comes to legacy. We get credit for what we leave behind." So that's what we're going to be discussing here. Where do we go from here? We go from the people that we idolize, what they left behind. So that leaves a lot of other stuff out. There are some shameful things that people left behind. We don't even want to go there. At any rate, that's what we'll be talking about in this broadcast. Okay?